I bow to all the seekers of truth. As it is today, a question has been put forward before me that why our attention gets lost. In the modern times, why our attention is not towards God. And that in modern times, why a human being has gone down in his quality of humanity. These questions point out to one single fact, that our attention has been challenged by modern times. कृपा करून कुणी उठून जाऊ नका. जरी मराठीत नाही बोलले तरी हे सगळे मंत्र आहेत. हात माझ्याकडे करून बसा तर सगळ्यांना समजेल. This attention has been challenged by all that we call modern today. I do not say that we have to be primitive people. In this great country of ours, India, which was Bharatvarsh, we had such a great quality of humanity, such a great quality of administration, quality of kings, queens. All that was not a myth. It was a fact that we had Rama, Krishna, the benevolent king, and a great diplomat of the divine force. But today we find all these things sound like mythical, because at what level we are, we see that as the truth, as the reality. But it is not. All this is created by human beings. How this is created and why it has happened, I would like to explain to you. When our attention was created before, in a way that we were living with very few things in this country, everyone knew that you have to have your self-realization. Nobody bothered their heads about how much wealth you are going to acquire, how many things we are going to have, except for the kings who acquired wealth for the betterment of the society, and also who acquired the power for the protection of the society. Then we became slaves of two cultures, one the Islamic, another the British culture, the English culture. And I think the real downfall came when this English culture came upon us. Because though they were Muslims, they believed in God. Whatever wrong they did it in the name of God, and they believed it. But the attention was not still in acquiring things. We say that Aurangzeb was a very bad king, no doubt. He killed so many Hindus because he believed that Islam is the only religion. That was his stupidity, I should say. He was ignorant. He was so violent. But he himself was an extremely frugal person. He used to make his own caps, sell them in the market, and live on that. And he would not touch any money of the public. But then the English, when they started ruling in this country, this language English came upon us as not a blessing but a curse, I think. Because the whole literature is full with ideas which are contrary to the culture of God, contrary to the culture of Christ. They believe that Christ was born in England. Many Christians still believe that you become a Sahab when you become Christians. This culture of the English, which was forced on us, this language which was forced on us, gave us absolutely a different direction which we should not have accepted. But as it is, we were 300 years already in the slavery, people had to accept it blindfolded. Sri Krishna has clearly said that the awareness grows downward. Why? The roots are in the brain of a person, and the awareness which is growing downwards forms the tree. And this Western culture is the one which makes you grow downwards towards materialism, whether it is communism or it is socialism or democracy. That makes no difference. The whole thing is that you have to attend to the material side. So the first object of the Western culture or the Western science was first to capture the matter, the 5 elements, in such a way that it can be used for the comfort of human beings, for the physical comfort of human beings. But as the culture is just to move forward without any control over yourself, like a kite flying in the air without having any control of a finger on it, the whole thing drifted into various directions and various fields where it got lost. When we pay attention to something, if the attention is pure, it will purify the matter and will come back to us as a pure attention. But when the attention is filled with these ideas that you have to use all the matter for your comfort, then it gets lost in the matter. It gets involved in the matter. It gets spoiled in the matter. And then what comes back to us is the thought how to possess it. To possess the matter, to use the matter, to sit on top of the matter was the first mistake. Matter is your slave in any case. In any case, it is your slave. And this you would have got it without paying so much attention to it. To think that science was discovered by scientists is egoistic. It's only your ego says that. You cannot discover anything unless and until the God's grace is upon. It's the God's grace that brings forth the exposition of his powers. Even a person like Einstein had said that. Even the person like Newton has said that. Einstein has clearly said that I was fed up and I was tired. I couldn't find the theory of relativity. I was just resting in my garden playing with soap bubbles, and from somewhere unknown the theory of relativity dawned upon. But we Indians, living 300 years in that slavish mentality, accepted it blindfolded, without knowing how much knowledge and science we have. We had aeroplanes in our country, we had piloted bombs in our country, we had all kinds of things in our country. But why did we accept this without going into the roots to find out how did we have these things? We started doubting all that was the past in India, and we would not go into the past of it, but we started moving downward with this Western culture. And that's the downfall of our country. That has brought all this nonsense in. When money becomes everything, the money orientation, the economics of it. This was the country of philosophers, of the seers, of the saints, where now today economics is dominating without understanding that you cannot put this Western economics in this country at all. We cannot work it out. This is a country of generosity. People love to serve you. People love to do, even today, they like to do something for you. Go to a village, even if they may not have anything with them, they'll bring some milk, make you sit there, please have some milk. You have come from foreign countries, please have. But in the Western countries, you may give them any amount of things. They won't even return one present to you. Shamelessly they'll take everything thinking that they are the ones who should have it. They have no subtleties. They have no subtleties to understand generosity. They cannot. They think we do it because we are slavish people. Even I was surprised when some villagers told me that even the animals coming from the West are stupid. I said, how? He said, now take a hen from India and take a leghorn or roach from Western countries. If there is an attack on the little chicks, the mother will start shouting or doing something, screaming, or doing something to call all her children under her wings if it's an Indian hen. But if it's an English hen, she wouldn't mind, she'll look at everything very peacefully. Chitta pragya. Not bothered. Then he said, most surprising thing is that our bullocks, if you tell them, go this way, that way, they understand. But if you tell a Western bullock, he walks straight into the car, into the trucks, he doesn't know where he's walking. He has no idea. You cannot leave them alone. And if you tell them walk this way, they'll walk the other way around. So what is in this culture? What is in this whole upbringing that makes you so gross? The attention is on the matter and not on the spirit. All the time, the matter is trying to overpower the spirit. Supposing there's a tree that falls off, it dies, then you make a chair out of it. It's a dead from the dead. Now you sit on the chair and you become a slave of the chair. You cannot sit on the ground. Then you have to carry chairs with you. If you start moving in a car, you become so useless that you cannot walk with your legs. Tomorrow you start having calculators. You'll be surprised. I live in London, I'm amazed at the people. Even if they have to do 2 plus 2, they want their tambaku. They want to calculate it. For 2 plus 2, they cannot do it. They have no brains left because computers have come. So as a result of this machinery, the machines that have created, we say the machine age, what an age it is, and the age of development. Without any control, if the machines have gone up to this point, it is time that we understand we should not go too much towards it, that we become slaves of this machine. The machine is like a devil. It requires, like a devil, all the time to eat something. Like you in England, it's impossible to get fresh food. You have to go to the main market to get it. But in America, it's even worse. And in most of the countries, they have everything packed, everything in a plastic bag, everything measured. You go to the shop, you get this. Nothing fresh. There is no taste in the food. Now they are using chemicals. They put chemicals in the body of the animals which they eat, put chemicals in the foods that they eat, put chemicals because the machine must have a quantity. To have the quantity, they have to do all this. So what you are taking is all these chemicals. As a result of that, what you are developing is nothing else but your destruction. So all this attention outside into the matter builds up your destructions gradually. The attention gets fragmented. For example, you are talking to someone, this is a very modern stuff, I have seen many. You are talking to someone and this person is looking somewhere else. Where are you looking? Oh, I was looking at that picture or something. I think I should buy that. But I am talking to you here. It doesn't go into head. Nothing. He is looking at something or at some woman or at some man, which is joyless pursuit. You have nothing to do with it. And there is no alertness which picks up things at the right moment. Then another thing a gentleman told me, whose 4 children are in an English school and 1 child in an Indian school. He says, these 4 children don't talk much. They think no end of themselves. And they don't know. You ask them how many roads there are to your house, they wouldn't know. They just go like a blinkers of a horse around their heads. They walk like that. They don't know anything. They don't read newspapers. They have no idea as to what things we have. And the youngest child, who is brought up in an Indian way and an Indian school, has got a little parrot, has got a little doggy, looks after all the cows. He gives all the news about all the animals in the house. He gives all the news about the relations. He knows who are the relations, who are suffering, what is the problem, what in the kitchen is needed. He's so alert, his attention is so alert because it is not fragmented. Now with any convenience, we want to put our children into English schools. I tell you, you will have it. If they don't beat you when they grow up, you shouldn't be surprised. I have seen Western children beat their parents. They answer them back. It was a day when the children of a good family would always address their parents as sir or mother as a madam. But today, I have seen them answering them back, saying all kinds of funny things and knowing all the filth of the world, all the filth of the world. They know so much of filth that you are shocked you don't know that. And the whole attitude of all their medias, or ours also I should say in a way, is to create that attitude, to put our children into that filth all the time, take them to that filth. Our people also, I see in the television here also, they show all these horribly nude, funny women in the advertisement. Because these advertisements and the medias also work out your attention onto the gross. They play on your weaknesses. That's how they make you weak. And when you become weak, they become very powerful. Then the media is so powerful you can't do anything. There is no purity in their hearts to do benevolence, to do good to the people, as we call janahit. There's not in their mind at all. Somehow to make money. What's the harm in making money? It's surprising how people are compromising for the sake of money. Money doesn't give you joy. I have to tell you, it cannot give you joy. Don't run after money. Have an integrated attitude towards money. Money is the blessing of the Lakshmi. And the Lakshmi is a very beautiful woman who has got a very motherly attitude. She is the mother. A man who has money has to have motherly attitude. She has got 2 lotuses in her hands. Pink shows that she is love. She expresses her love in 2 of her hands, which also means a lotus which is pink is even entertaining a thorny bhaura, we call it, the black beetle, which has got thorns on its soft petals and gives it a place of rest. How many of these rich people in this country, and especially abroad, would entertain such an idea of having a place for a ashraya, for a support for the persons who are like a bhaura? Then the other hand, which is like this, has to be daan. You have to give. If you have money, you must give. How many of them know where to give money? They'll give money to places where people will cheat them, like Rajneesh. They will not give money to the poor. They will not develop anything for the poor in a proper way. The other day I was surprised. I went to Pune. We have there a very good system started called as Jana Shanti, where people give food for 2 rupees, very good food for 1 one meal, very, very good food, excellent food they gave, and sufficient for 2 rupees. And they said all the president downward people came here, we had to spend money on their reception, we gave them this, that, garland, this, that, and everybody gave big, big lectures. And nobody is willing to even give them a place on rent. No one wants them there because they think you will go into competition with others who are making profits and will not get votes. So the whole system is so funny that you end up at a point that they want to give money because they want to have votes. They want to win the elections because they want to make money. I mean, I came to this country and everybody is saying, what's the matter, why can't we get plot? Because the person wants to eat the money. Here everybody eats the money. Eating the money, paise khate. They paise khata, they paise khata, they paise khata. Said, don't they eat their food? Why are they eating food? Money? This is the trouble of this country has come because money has become the most important thing for them. Nothing that they think that this body, this being, this is a collective being. This is a samuhik being. It cannot be happy with this kind of a harm we are doing to our society. All those who do things like this, their 7 generations will be cursed by God. You must understand. Those who make money at the cost of the poor people, they will be cursed forever. And one should not join such people even if you have to suffer. I know it's very hard time. People cannot afford to live with the earnings they have. But still, if you decide, you can live with the satisfaction that you have done right. When my father was, and my mother both, were in jail so many times. We were 11 children, we were very rich people living in huts. And we didn't have food for days together sometimes. And we were used to very rich life. They sacrificed everything for the country's freedom. Where are such people now? You can't think of them. They are legendary people. Nobody wants to sacrifice anything whatsoever. And this is the movement. This is a new movement of Swatantra. Swatantra is not yet complete. You can see it clearly. It is not. Your freedom is not complete. If your freedom has to be complete, you must get your Swatantra. You must know the technique of your Swa, of your spirit. Unless and until you get this full freedom, you are not free people. You are slaves of money. You are slaves of powers. You are slaves of showing off. You are slaves of everything today. All kinds of bad habits. I have never known so many drunkards that we find these days. So we have become greater slaves of all the bad habits, all the bad doings, and there is nothing that a person in a big position can think of not doing. Why it has happened to us? Why have we all collapsed into such insipid, useless people? What has happened to our countrymen is this, that they have not realized that the greatest thing is in the brain, is the roots. And these roots are in this country, in this Maharashtra. These roots are here. The Kundalini has to only enlighten these roots, and we never bothered about it. We never cared for it. We are all the time worried as to how to get more money. So the people who are highly paid or who are at a higher position with less pay also maybe, they are making money by eating that. And the others are a sort of people who are going on strike for everything. For what? For money. Again for money. This Bombay is half finished because of strikes. What for strikes? I asked them. You are a drunkard? Yes. You drink? All right. And you smoke? Yes. You eat tobacco? Yes. You eat pan? That means you have money. Otherwise, how can you afford all these things? When you ask for more money in a strike, better find out what sort of a man he is. If he can drink, afford to drink, then you need not give him any money to drink more. Any mother who sees her son is drinking will never give him any money because he will be drinking with that money. What else is he going to do? What good is he going to do with that? So what happens that this attention, when it starts moving towards money, we become so blind that we do not see why are we asking for money. What is the need for money? I am not for these capitalists at all. I know how horrid they are. But what I am saying that why break the machinery like this? Now, whatever you may do, whatever you may tell them, that finish this striking and enjoy yourself now for the God's sake. We have really poor people in the villages, not in Bombay. In Bombay we don't have poor people. They can go to cinema, they can do all kinds of things. How can they be poor? But they have time, and they have more time. That's why they get entered into such things. And they are going to finish off this Mumbai of yours very soon, if you allow these people to go on strike. It's stupidity, absolute stupidity, and it comes from the Western people, not from Gandhiji. Gandhiji didn't tell you to fight for money, did he? He asked you to fight for Swatantra. And today, if he was living, he would have talked about Sahajoga, I'm sure of that. But the problem that exists with us is that we don't want to see that this machinery is now shaking. We have to have another system, a parallel system that will crush this stupid machinery which is taking us downward and downward and downward. A girl must have 10 types of saris, 10 types of clothes she must wear, like a Kashmiri girl, she must wear like a Punjabi girl, she must wear like an English girl. What is the need? I mean, we are rich people, I should be very rich. We used to have at least 2 saris and one for Thevni, as they call it, one for some special occasions. And we lived well, we educated well, where attention was learning and attention was towards God. But the attention, when it gets lost, it fritters away. It gets lost, it gets fragmented, there's no continuity in it, it fritters away. And a person becomes a superficial person, extremely superficial. He cannot go deep. How can you feel his spirit? The superficiality makes you absolutely a person who has sort of a crust and nothing inside. Absolutely what we call the hollowness, kokla, completely hollow. If you just break that man, you find out he is not a man of character, he is not a man to be depended upon, he is not a man who talks good of others, he will try to pull each other. This is what happens to your attention, and you become extremely, extremely low-level human being. You'll be surprised, I went to 4 villages before coming here, and the people who were there were 5 times more than Bombay people. They came, they didn't have cars, nothing, they didn't have buses. They came walking, they came on bullock carts, and such a big crowd. And all of them got realization, because thank God they don't know English language. And these nonsensical ideas that we have got from the Western culture. We are not to compete with them, they have to compete with us. They have nothing to offer. You have to stick on to your idea. But instead of that, we have learned all the bad things and all the bad traditions, like taking dowry, torturing our women, and doing all these things which do not at all look civil. In that we are not modern. In that we are not modern. In that we are very, very primitive. But it was never so before. Nobody used to torture wives. We never knew there was a dowry system in India. Nobody knew it. It is absolutely something we cannot understand from where it came. And I discovered it came from the English only. Because they said we should be very, very balanced about our children, and we should not give only the money to the boy, the eldest brother, but we should give it to the girl also. So because, you see, the whole inheritance will go to the boys, the land will go to the boys, you must give some money. That was sensible. But we have gone to the extremes now, and all these problems are coming before us, which we call as social problems. Then we have problems which we call as emotional problems out of family problems. Now, if you want to follow them, then I would like to give you the picture how their family lives are, so that you will understand that you just stop having all those ideas into your heads. The family picture is like this, that a husband and wife get married, so-called. Within, say, a year or so, they are divorced. Then, in one lifetime, they'll have 8 husbands and 8 wives, at least. Then they all land up in the orphanage, in old age. The children are in the orphanage, the father is in the orphanage, and the mother is also in the orphanage. All the mothers, fathers, everybody ends up in the orphanage. There is no love, there is no feeling. In England itself, I was feeling, but it is only in London. 2 children are killed by their parents. There is no compassion, there is no daya, there is no karuna in them. And that's what today happening to us also. Our children are going the same way, our parents are going the same way. So, as my mother always used to say, Laksha kute, where is your attention? Where is your attention? So you would say that, no, my attention is nowhere. Nowhere means what? Should be on God. Where is your attention? Should be on God. Deva kade laksha theva. Keep attention towards God. Where is your attention? Even when they taught music, they used to say first, think of God. Anything they did, think of God. When you think of God, you don't think of other nonsensical things, but sensible things. And that is how our attention frittered away. Because when the attention comes out, it attacks the modern. Because there's a challenge. As a result of that fight, the attention breaks into fragments. There's no fragmentation is there. Your attention is not collected. You don't know where you are moving. You can't see anything, you don't understand. You ask them one question, they don't know, they've forgotten. What is your father's name? Oh, I don't know. What's my father's name? This is the situation which they are facing. You have no idea as to what hell they are living into. And if you want to take yourself and your children into that hell, follow them. But it doesn't mean that you go to these bhajis and give them money or go to these horrible gurus. It doesn't mean that either. It never means that. You avoid that nonsense because your parents were stupid to go to these gurus. These have started only 100 years back. We have never known such people before. These bhondus we never knew. 100 years back nobody talks. Except for Nanaka, who has said it that these bhondus must be avoided, Sadguru che lakshan hai, and all these things have been written by Ramdas. But who reads Ramdas? Because he was a Brahmin, non-Brahmins won't read. Who will read Tukarama? Because he was a non-Brahmin, Brahmins won't read it. If their caste is such a big thing that by reading something it falls off, better give it up. All these caste systems and all these are now so much settled into our heads. So much settled, it was never so before. It's very surprising. And in the early times, there was no caste system. There was a caste system according to your karmas, according to your doings, not according to where you are born. Otherwise, how could Valmiki be called a Brahmarshi? And how could Vyasa, who was an illegitimate child of a fisherwoman, could be called as the greatest of greatest? All these false ideas have to fall out, and for that we have to start a new system. And a new system has to come forward through the people who have achieved their yoga. Sri Krishna himself has clearly said, Yoga Kshema Vahamyam. When you get your yoga, you will get Kshema. Always he has said about yogis. He has used the word yogis for that. These yogis have to come that, and as you read in the Pasayadan just now, you have heard about it, that the forests of these great people who are kalpatarus, who are the givers of your desires, will be walking. These are the yogis. And the oceans of this talking nectar will be talking about God. These are the yogis. Others are all ordinary, useless people will be frittered away. Only the yogis will be respected in the kingdom of God. And we have to bring the kingdom of God on this earth. first in India, then in America. Here it is going to come. Now, people might say, Marxism, this ism, that ism. Tukarama has said, avaghachi samsara sukhacha kari. He said it. Same Marx says the same. He says that the whole world should be such a happy place that there should be no state. How? Nobody asked him how. He talks of evolution, how? How the evolution is going to take place. Ask him, ask all these communists. They are not becoming better people, are they? Who is becoming better? Who is getting transformed by that isms? None of them. Somebody is a disciple of this gentleman, somebody is a disciple of that gentleman, somebody is following this kind of a political theory, another following that kind of a theory is a theory. In Marathi, as they say, bolacha bhata bolachi kadi. Whatever theories you have, you have written down on your heads. Are you going to get transformation with that? There has to something happen within you if you have to get to that point, what Marx has said, what Tukarama has said. This parivartan, this change, this transformation has to take place, and that's only possible through the Kundalini awakening. There are people who have read about Kundalini, they come and ask me, Mother, this Kundalini that you are talking about, people say that this Kundalini can give us madness, this, that. Even they have said that sixth chapter of the Jnaneshwari should not be read at all, because it deals with Kundalini. Naturally, because they don't know anything about it. So it's better not to deal with it. But Kundalini is the Shuddha Ichcha, is the real Ichcha, is the one that is going to give you that what you are born for, is going to give you. After that, you do not want anything else. It's not like the economics that you want today, this, tomorrow, that, and it is never satiable in general. It gets completely, the thing that you want is the entire source of satisfaction. But if the movement is upward, the Kundalini doesn't move downward towards the gravity, towards the matter. It comes up. It moves upward and pierces through this fontanelle bone area, and you get your self-realization. This is what you should ask from any guru. All the rest of it is useless. How can you pay for it? Can you show rupee to that Kundalini? It's a living process of the living evolution which has to take place. You have to achieve the epitome of your life by this. How are you going to do it? Are you going to do it by standing on your head? Any living process like a sprouting of a seed, how do you do it? You put the seed in the Mother Earth, and she has the power, and she just sprouts it. In the same way it has to happen that it should sprout. In that same manner it should sprout spontaneously. Sahaja. Saha with your born. This is born with you. To get this yoga is your birthright. Get it. And for Indians it's a special blessing that they get it very fast, just like their independence, without any effort, without much struggle, I should say. Others have struggled much more than us. Then you get that, you also lose it very fast. So, those people who understand Kundalini, understand the essence of everything, and they understand that all the religions are on one essence. They are the flowers of the same tree. Stupidly we are fighting here. Christ has said, those who are not against us are with us. Who are those? Christians don't want to find out. Now they are after Christ's life. Hindus don't want to know about it. There is no greatness of heart. I would say now there was a problem in Aurangabad and the people attacked. They should not have attacked, all right. But we have to understand what has happened in this one, where we have gone wrong. We should see our mistake. In a masjid, whatever it is, it's a God's place. It's a God's place. And in a masjid, if they are meditating, you should not make noise. If you are insulting that, you are insulting Vithala himself. In the Vithala Mandir, you have a different type of arti, all right, have it. In that arti, if somebody starts doing discotheque dance, how will you like it? In the same way, if that is a place of ibadat, is a place where people are praying in a dhyana. Just now we are so quiet. We are sitting in the surrounding horrible noises, but everything is quiet. That's why we are enjoying. And if that is the way they want to meditate, must we go and disturb them for something that some boys are troubling and all that? Can't we respect it to show our greatness? Thorpana. Must we do that? Is it very important that at that time we should take these Besura, Betala bands in front of that? Why don't we see that we also must respect whatever is God everywhere? This is the mistake we commit. In the name of religion, we insult God Himself. When they say Allahu Akbar, they mean Virat, means Sri Krishna itself. If you come to Sahajoga, you will know that they are all related to each other. That Muhammad Sahib was nothing else, Mahamedha. He was the Dattatreya himself. This is the Medha. And he is settled down there. I know he was given poison and he was tortured. And the same thing when we are doing to it by saying that Muhammad was wrong. He was not wrong. Who was wrong are the Muslims. Who was wrong are the Hindus. Who was wrong are the Christians. They are all against all these prophets, all these great incarnations and bringing bad names. Let us start understanding. Let us start respecting. Let us be great. Let us be noble. Let us be higher people of affection, compassion and understanding. Let us be those people. Let us start. Let us start a nucleus like that. If we can do it, we can make all those who have gone down also pull back, all of them upward. It was built in this country, this system. Whole thing was built in this country that we should ascend. Very beautifully done, long time back, but was lost in the deluge of modern life. So, people should take to all the traditional things which are beautiful, all the traditional games that are beautiful, all the traditions that give respect. If you lose the sense of respect, you have lost the humanity, absolutely 100%. If you do not know how to respect, you are not an Indian at all. You are not an Indian. Don't call yourself an Indian. You must learn how to respect. Respect gives you greatness. It makes you humble, like Tukarama said, Anu Renu Uni Thodka Tuka Akashaya Vada. When he becomes smaller than Anu Renu, then he becomes Akashaya. In the Vada tree, the seed is so very small. If you see that, it's extremely small, and the biggest tree it creates. One Shastriji said that even the small thing can do great job. And that's what we have seen, that a small thing, only when you become humble, then the grace of God surrounds your humility, surrounds your personality, and you become really a personality that has authority of God. That is the greatness of God. In that humility it works, it just works. After realization, the attention becomes enlightened. By that attention, only looking at people, you can raise their quality. Only looking at people, you can cure them. All your powers are expressed in your attention, and you don't get lost in the matter. Then you become the Badsha. Badsha is a person who doesn't mind anything. He doesn't need it. As you know, I'm born in a rich family and my in-laws are also rich, my husband is rich and all that. But I can live there, I can sleep there. I've lived in the jungles, I've lived along the rivers. I have no problem. Because why do I want anything? Nothing can dominate me. You can sleep on the stones, you can do what you like. But that's only possible when you become the yogi. When you become the yogi, you can do it. These 400 people who have come from abroad, come from very rich families, very good families, and they have got all the comforts that you can think of. But they want to live under the sky, near the river. They just don't want to see the cement on top of their heads. They are so much now in the higher level that they don't want to see anything that is gross. They want this mud. They want this beautiful clay of this country. त्या देशाची माती डोक्याला लावतात. तिथे बसलात तुम्ही. You are sitting on top of that. And what are you doing? Your attention. Where is it? Where is your attention? You must keep your attention to God. And once that is there, you will become a yogi. And once you become the yogi, you will be in the realm of God, in the kingdom of heaven. When you will be blessed with everything, you don't have to desire. It will just, before you will not know how to contain all that God has given you, the kshema that He gives you. Apart from that, your attention itself will be such a powerful instrument that you can change the entire universe with that. Why, I beg of you, because you are Indians. You are born in this country because of Purva Sukrutas, because what you have done in last life. That's why you are born in this great country. But it's like those who have teeth don't have the chanas to eat, and those who don't have teeth have got the chanas. It's like that. The situation is very bad. You are the ones who can become the greatest yogis, but you do not. But the Western people who do not have any idea about holiness, about auspiciousness, nothing. They are so ignorant. They shoot off much faster than you can. So I have to make a humble request to you that do not get enamored by this attention that goes to any matter. But matter itself is made by God. So despite the fact human beings got involved into the material advancement, it is today helping us in Sahaja Yoga in a very great way. For example, this mic is important. It is also useful for carrying my vibrations. It carries vibrations. Camera shows all the light around me and shows all the kinds of forms I have. So, whatever you may try, the divine will sparkle through that matter also and will establish the existence of divinity. But if you cut out the divinity out of the matter, you will be hit hard and you will be submerged in the greater ocean of ignorance and filth. So keep divinity at your heart and then deal with matter. And then you will understand what is the use of this matter and what one has to do with it. Tomorrow in Hindi, I'll be talking about the rest of it, about the truth, because today I've talked about Chit. Tomorrow I'll be talking about the truth, Sat Chit Anand. And third day, I'll be talking about Anand to you in Marathi. I hope you will sit down and meditate on what I have said. I do not want to condemn any culture as such, but I want to protect you from what has happened to that culture and where it has gone, to bring you back to your own great culture which came to us in thousands of years. Their culture is very, very, very new. It's very new, and one day they will also have the same culture as we have. But why not we short-circuit it and adjust ourselves to this great culture which is so much God-oriented, not money-oriented, ego-oriented, but God-oriented. Let us all attain that state of yogi. I hope today it will happen to all of you and that you will all get your realization. May God bless you.